relationships. That has been so important for me. Going even into undergrad, I didn't realize the importance of relationships. But once I got into grad school, then I realized I really needed to formulate relationships that will take me to the next level. And what I did as an undergraduate, I went to UT, I did public health. I knew I didn't want to do anything clinical. I just knew I loved people and I wanted to do social science. And so what I did, I got into public health and I really liked scientific research. And so what I did is my first semester, I formed relationships with professors who we had the same interests in. And so I would encourage, if you have children, encourage them to formulate relationships in the areas that they want to be in. And so what I did, I stalked my professors. I stalked them, I read their articles. I knew everything about them. I went to their offices, I introduced myself, and what ended up happening, because I was an international student all the way through. I did my associates at San Jacinto, I did my undergraduate at U of H, and my grad school at UT. And so I worked the whole time. I didn't know the resources that were out there. And so I worked hard my whole time. I had a full-time job. But when I got to UT, my professor was doing research in HIV/AIDS, and that was also my passion, and also drug use. And so she said, you know what, I have a research position open, and I'd like you to be my graduate research assistant. And I said yes, not knowing that not only would it reduce my tuition to a level that's not international. And so what ended up happening, I worked for her for the 2 years I was at UT. I was able to use that on my resume, and not only that, I had an internship also in Tanzania, based on forming relationships. And not only that, the current job that I have now, one of her colleagues is the one who recommended me. And so do not underestimate the value of relationships. Make sure that your kids have relationships with people out there. Do not limit your kids to, oh, I did this, let them go in this path. No, if a kid wants engineering, get a mentor in the engineering field. Let them, encourage them to be bold, to go to people and just say, do you know what? Can you be my mentor? As simple as that. And so that's one thing that has opened doors for me: relationships, and networking. Always network in the field that you want to, to go out in.
All right. So that's an awesome piece. So my add to that is, if you don't know what's out there, you're not going to know what you're interested in. So while your kids are, I visited a couple of years ago with an admissions panelist they used to bring them to my job, and this is what they said to me: while your kids are in middle school, let them try everything. When by the time they get to high school, what these big schools are looking for is depth, not breadth. So if you have any middle schooler, if you have any elementary kids school, let them try everything there is to try. Anataka gymnastics, machine. Yeah. So my daughter and I had a conversation. I told her, you bring me all A's, you can get a 4. You drop the A's, and you drop the 4. Okay? You don't get a 4. I tell her, I didn't get a 4 until I was in college. Nothing's gonna happen to you if everyone else has a 4 and you don't, right? The other thing, she loves to cook. When she has time to give them 1 hour on a Saturday and on a Sunday to watch shows. And her 1 hour is almost always going to be spent watching a cooking show. So when I realized my friend Adria opened a cupcake shop, she asked me, can I intern here? I said, bring me the grades. You get the phone. Well, after the first quarter, after the first semester, you get the phone, and you get the internship. You drop the grades because you have these other things you're doing, guess what? You drop those other things. So as a mom, she swims competitively. I'm driving around this city. By Friday night, I'm pooped. Like, serious, I'm tired, okay? But I know that my sacrifice will pay off. I'm actually expecting it to pay off, you know? I tell her, don't have me pouring into you all this way, and then you go to TSU like I did. We're going to move from strength to strength, from grace to grace, and from excellence to excellence. And I'm having these conversations so she understands my expectations as a parent. Yeah, you know, sometimes we say, I'm not gonna push my kid. Vaisha, I'm waiting for you to move closer so you can talk to us about your shop. We say, I'm not gonna push my kids, I'm not gonna push my kids. You know, when I was growing up, I lived in Thika. Thika is 40 kilometers out from the city. We went to school in the city. We went to very good schools in the city, but that meant I was up by 3 a.m. And I left Nairobi. I stopped going when I went to boarding school. I went to boarding school in 3rd grade, which means my whole year in nursery school, pre-K, pre-K3, pre-K4, 1st grade and 2nd grade, we were waking up at 3 a.m. Till today, I see the benefit of that. So when folks are here talking about don't push your kids too hard, push them. That's what you're there for as a parent. But know their limits. Understand their limits, yeah? We don't want kids, finishing the programs and telling you wanted a doctorate degree, here's your degree. Now I'm gonna go do what I really wanted to do. We want to nurture their passions, right? So when you get out of this place, we're going to stop in the next few minutes just so that we can release our panelists. And I expect you to spend a few minutes engaging these folks, engaging one another. If Kate remembers very well, before you got into SAP, it was a forum just like this at my house, right? Then you started making the big bats and you moved to the woodlands. Let me tell you something, these things work. These things work. If you sit out there and say, I'm not this kind of person, walk up to Sarah and say, hey, your blouse looks awesome, and that makeup is awesome. Start your conversation there. Yeah? Just start there. So, Maish.
I know everybody's tired. I'm the one who's trying to play with all those equipments there to try and make sure you could hear. My name is Jeffrey Q. People call me Maish. I'm the sound guy for Sifa/audio. But before I even go to that, I'm going to make my journey really quick. I'm those that don't stay in a job for 2 years because I have a purpose that I'm trying to get to. And that's how I've lived my life. About 18 years ago, started my journey. I was a security guard in downtown at a hospital, and I would see these doctors passing by, and they'll see me with a book and kept on saying, we know you'll go somewhere, just right after Allison. Fast forward, went into telecommunications industry, as a telemarketer, and then fast forward that, jumped into corporate America after my college. I was actually working for a company called Grant Thornton. Leaving school, I went to TSU. So don't be discouraged if your kids don't get into these big schools. I want to focus on that a little bit. We've heard so much about the Ivy League schools, and it's good for them to get to those schools because it opens more doors than it opened for me. But by the time I was leaving college, I had a job from Deloitte, I had a job from KPMG, I had a job from Accenture, I had a job from Grant Thornton, and I had a job from PwC. I chose to go to Grant Thornton, but I had my own ambitions. 2 years after that, I jumped ship, went full-time with the company, doing some finance work. I didn't get enough of that, but I'm the type that gets bored easily with work. Jumped ship again and went into the IT industry. And now you ask, started in finance, went into business management, went into IT. Why am I doing that? Because I'm trying to create a portfolio for myself so that when I open my business, nobody's going to come and tell me, oh no, I can help you with this, or if they do something wrong, I won't know about it. No, that's how I started. And then now I'm in IT strategy consulting. I work mostly with the C-level groups in terms of setting their strategy roadmaps. I also do partly change management for some of the big transformational initiatives, both global and local. About 4 years ago, I ended up opening my business because I saw the things I'm doing for them and teaching everybody else to do is what they're getting paid for, and they're getting paid for 2-3 times more than what I was making. So I started researching, how quick can you open a business? So I'm going to tell you here, we've had Dr. Mugubi talk a little bit about, the journey that he took to open a business. In the healthcare industry, it's probably a little bit longer because you need some compliance issues and all that. But to open a regular LLC or even a corp, it's probably a day and a half if you have enough money to expedite it. So in a day and a half, I had my company, and because of working with all these other individuals, and you say something really important, relationships. So all those lessons I passed, I kept on creating those relationships. And you don't stop there. Somebody else talked about LinkedIn. Go into LinkedIn. Connect yourself with CEOs, even if they don't know you. Guess what? If they click and you get into their circle, that circle starts to grow. And soon, people start realizing, oh, I need to speak to somebody like this. That's how I'm getting my clients nowadays, really subcontracting for same companies, Deloitte, Accenture, Growth Consulting, KPMG, PwC, that I was looking to work for. I'm consulting for them. And one thing I want to point out, all these big companies that you're seeing, when they get a majority of their contracts, they're required to sometimes, with certain industries, to work with minority-owned businesses. So try to research what those are. And there are different types of minority-owned businesses. There's women-owned minority-owned businesses. There's veteran businesses that you can get into. And if you can actually collect all of those into your own business, you get an opportunity. One of my mentors we went to school with, she is a lady. She owns a company that all they do is supply papers for the city of Houston. So she's not even touching printed papers. All they do is deliver the papers, you get the money. She's a millionaire right now. Why? Because city of Houston had to hire a minority-owned business to do that work. So research that and don't fear. If you don't get to that Ivy League school and you end up at UH or you end up at UT, you end up at TSU. I went to TSU. Doesn't mean that you reach your limit. That just means that you got to push harder than somebody who else their doors might open a little bit quicker than yours. Right now we're doing strategy work, risk management work, SOX work, but I focus mostly on IT consulting. So that's my quick 1-2 and how I got into, in 18 years, to own a business, and it's worth it. When you're working for yourself, you work harder than if you're working for somebody, but it pays for you to do that.